This is the Jira board. It's just one of the tools that you will find out there depending on what the organization is using, but this is widely used. So we are going to use this for the practicals. Before we proceed, we need a project. So I'm just going to pick out something that, because of time, that will be easy for us to understand, right? I believe we all have a mobile phone, but I want it to be very, very interactive. So if you're there, you have your phone, you can pick it up and go to settings. So with the project, let's consider that a customer has come to the organization and say, oh, we want you to build us a phone, or we need a phone, right? Okay. So I'll first of all, let's create the project before we start seeing how we break it down. So to create a new project on a Jira board, before we go, okay, this is a brand new board. I did that for the purpose of learning so that we can go through. So when we look at the side of the board, we can see we have the roadmap, we have the board, but there are a lot of things that are not here. We cannot see reports, right? Mm-hmm. We cannot see releases. We cannot see so many things. So we need to configure the board. So to do that, when you have your brand new board, you just go to board settings. When you click on settings, you come to features. So if you have a pen and a paper, you can write that down so that when you get your own, you can do that. When you click on features, we see the backlog was off. That's why we could not see backlog on the side. So we'll turn it on. So we'll just go ahead and turn on everything that is off, just so we are able to have all the features that we'll be needing in the course of the project.
No, I can't.
On. And when you're done turning it on, just come back here and go back to project. It's going to take you back. So now do we see that we have reports, issues, releases, and backlog?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, secondly, now this is our board. We have to do in progress, we have done. So depending on the organization that you'll be working with and the processes that they undergo, you will have the columns will be customized as per the processes that they have. So in the meantime, we'll add testing. We'll assume that we have to do in progress before it is done. We assume that it has to be tested, right? Mm-hmm. So to add a new column, we just go ahead and click on the plus sign here. And then let's put QA, which is quality assurance, the same thing as testing. You click OK. And then now we want, of course, it has to be tested before we conclude that it's done. So we'll just move the QA, and so you just drag and move. So you can add as many colors as you want, depending on what is in your organization. Before we start, let's just keep it simple. Now we go to, okay. So like I said, I suggested that we can do a mobile phone, right? Before we go to create the project. I guess in the course of the class, you heard about epic, features, stories, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So epic, as Dr. Elia explained, is the big idea, right? So with the case of our mobile phone that we want to use, that would be the idea. So a customer wants us to build a mobile phone, right? So that's a big idea. Now, what kind of mobile phone do you want? What are the things you want in the mobile phone, right? So we assume that the mobile phone is the epic, it's very big, it's broad. So we need to break it down so that we can actually understand what we have to incorporate in the phone. So before we go there, let's create our project first. I have mobile application, but I think we'll do, okay. So we come to projects to create a new project. You click here, you see create project right here. So as we go, if you don't understand anything, just let me know. Like I said, it's going to be interactive. So I clicked on create project. It's right here. So it's asking us, do we want to create a Kanban project or a Scrum project or a block tracking? So we are going to take Scrum. But if it's a Kanban team, of course, you take the Kanban board, right? So we'll do the Scrum board. And then right here, we will use the template. Oh, sorry. Let me move this up by the side. Put this one. So we'll take use template here. When you select the Scrum board and then you take use template. And then, it's going to take us to, if we want to do a company managed, or I don't know, are you people seeing the bottom of my screen? I think this is covering it.
No, you're all good.
Okay. Okay, so it's asking us if we want to do a company managed or a team managed board project. So we'll just take the team managed project. Or did I select a team managed or company
You
managed?
clicked on company.
Okay, let's just take it all over. We go to
projects.
Okay, somebody walk me now. We go to project. What do we click on?
Create project.
Okay, and what do we click on right here?
Select Scrum.
Great. Okay, and then what do we do next?
Use template.
Perfect. Okay, so in this case we'll do a team managed. Okay. All right, now it says add the project name, right? So like we said, let's do a mobile phone, right? Let's just assume that it's a mobile phone that we want to build. So we take mobile phone project. Okay, so this right here, the MPP is what we call the key. So once you put in your project name, it automatically generates a key here. You can always change it, but we are going to use the key to identify our project. Okay, after we put in the project name, we take next. So we have successfully created it, right? That's the notification down there. So we just click go to project. Okay, so this is our project. Remember, this was a key, right? Mobile phone project. So MPV board. All right. Okay, now, so this is a new project. And then the board, we have to customize the board. Let's say we want to add the QA. So we want to add a column for testing. Where do we go to?
The plus sign.
Great. So we click the plus sign, we add the QA, and then we take the tick. It's created. And then we can just drag and put it before done. Okay, so this is our board. But now let's go to the backlog. So we see a roadmap, we see backlog, we see board. We all know that, of course, we need to start from the backlog, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think we still have to, sorry, let me do project settings. I think some of the features.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I was about to remind you.
Yes, so the same way we go to settings. So once you look at your board, right, let me go back to project. Once you're on your board and you look at it, you don't see reports and all of that. So you know it's not configured. So you just go to project settings. And then we go to features. We turn everything on. And then we take back to project right here. So we have everything now. We have our reports, we have our issues, releases, and all of that. Okay, so we are going to go to the backlog to begin. Okay, like we earlier said, the mobile phone or our mobile phone is an Epic, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very blash. So now, okay, customer, you want us to build a phone. What do you want in the phone? So this is us trying to break down that Epic into the different features that we want to see in the phone. If anybody has a phone, you can just pick up your phone so we can pick up your phone and go to settings.
Run, okay.
So while we are going there, on my own phone, I'm on settings, and on settings, I can see connections. I can see sound and vibration. I can see notification, display, home screen, lock screen. So all of, excuse me, all of those are different features, right? So these are different features that are on our mobile phone. So let's take, for example, that we had this project, and this is what the customer wants. So now gradually we are taking the big idea, which is the Epic, which is a mobile phone, and we want to break it down now to features. So we are going to work on the features on the phone. We'll just pick like 2 features for purpose of time. but I don't know, do we understand how we are from epic to features?
Yes.
Okay. So anybody who is on settings, can you just tell me the first feature that you see on your settings?
Wi-Fi.
Okay, no. No. Before the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth, what is the big
Airplane mode for mine.
before? What is all of them are under something?
Oh, I say Apple ID suggestions.
Oh, that's an Apple phone, and that's why.
They're all other settings. Once you open it, it just
Okay, so now when I open settings, I see connections, and then under connections, I see the Bluetooth, the airplane mode.
no, it's just displayed on the Apple phone. Sorry.
Oh, okay. On the Apple phone, it says display.
No, it says airplane mode, Wi-Fi. It just gives you a list.
It's an Apple ID suggestions.
Okay, so for better understanding, let's use the Android. I'm not an Apple fan. Okay, so on my Android phone, why I wanted a big topic, because remember, when we break the epic to features, we have to further break the features to user stories, right?
Yes.
So on my phone, when I go to settings, I see connections. Anybody with an Android phone, I don't know if that's what you have.
There's connection.
Okay, so connection now will be a feature. We see that is a feature, right? But a feature is still very big. That needs to be further broken down. That is why the feature connection was further broken down to Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, airplane mode. So those are user stories under the feature connections. Do we understand now? Okay. So let's go to create. We will first of all create. So here we create the epic first, and then we start creating the features. On the Jira board, we'll use epic in the place of features because the Jira board does not have they don't have an option for features, right? So in the space of features, we are putting the epic, because I know if we click epic, they'll be like, oh, but the epic is a mobile phone, is a big idea. But now we want to create features, right? So on the Jira board, the epic will represent the features. Do we understand?
Yes.
So there's no way we can create like to add the features to say like to add this story type.
No, you can always configure that, right? But in most cases, when you go to organization, the board is already configured, and you meet epics. You rarely see where they'll say create features. So, but we all understand that the epic is where we are putting in the features.
Okay.
So we'll go to create up there to create the epic. So we click on create, and then you see issue type, right? It's showing us that story, but it's not the story we want to create. We want to create an epic. So you click on this drop down arrow, and then you select epic. So this is where you can select, right? So if you're at the workplace and maybe there's a bug that has come in, they say, oh, we have a bug. Can you put this in the board? You know that you select bug. So whatever you're creating, you select it here as per what you're supposed to create. So we are going to take epic because it's an epic we want to create. Okay, so which is a feature. We on the Android phone we see connections, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and put connections, and then I'll hit create right here.
Okay. Thank you.
So it tells us we have created an epic, right? Okay, so let's just create a second epic before we go to the stories. Whoever is on the Android phone, Android, what else do you see on your settings?
Sound and vibration.
Okay, let me see. Sound and vibration is under what?
I see
Sound
connected devices.
Okay, sound and vibration. Okay, yeah, I see sound and vibration. Yeah, so that will be another feature, right? So we create another epic create. So it's on epic. We don't need to change it. We just, because you still want to create an epic. So we'll put sound and vibration. Sounds and vibration. Okay, and then we go ahead and create. All right, so we have created our epics. I know you people are not seeing where the epics are, but if you want to view the epics that have been created, you can just come up here and look where you see Epic, right? We see that the panel for the Epic is off, correct? So if you turn it on, you're going to see the Epics right here. We have connection and sound and vibration. So I'll just turn that off first. But if you want to see it, you can always come here to see. All right. Now we have our features. What are features broken down into? If we want to break them down now, what will we be creating next?
Story.
User
Yeah,
story.
story. Okay. So now we on the Android phone, whoever is on the Android phone, if you click on connections, just click on connections and tell us what you see.
Come on. Connection, you have Wi-Fi calling, Bluetooth.
Okay. Let's first take Wi-Fi. So now those are user stories under that feature connection, right? So connection was a feature and then it was broken down. Okay, connection is too big. What does the customer want to see under connection? So the customer probably say, okay, I want an option where I can have Wi-Fi. I want an option where I can have Bluetooth to share. I want an option where I can, have data usage, mobile hotspot, and tendering. So those were the requirements that the customer brought, right? Or those were the discussion. So we now, the team, we are breaking it down to start working on it. Okay, so let's say Wi-Fi is one of our user stories under the feature connection or under the Epic connection. So to create a story, we go back to create, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do we do here?
Click on
Type.
Bring the drop down for story.
Story, correct. Right. Okay, so with the story now, we have to, this is where the actual work begins. So let's say we have, let me say we have Wi-Fi as our first user story, right?
Yes.
All right, so when Doctor was talking, he gave a format for writing user story. Does anybody remember the format?
who, what, and why. So using as a I want to and so that.
Okay, so can we come up with the who, what, and why for Wi-Fi? So as a user, I want to, so we are talking with Wi-Fi now. Can anybody try? Okay, so now you see, after you put in the summary, remember for the epics, we put the summary and then we did create. But for the user story now, after the summary, we have to put in the who, the what, and the why, right? So that the developers can understand, or whoever is working understand what is required from this story. Then they can be able to know how to go about coding or how to go about building that particular functionality, right? So on that description, that is where you put in the who, the what, and the why. Okay, can anybody try with the...
Yeah, as a user, I want to the Wi-Fi ability in order to be able to make
Sorry, I want the
Wi-Fi ability in order to be able to make calls over Wi-Fi if there's no mobile network. Where there's no mobile network.
Okay. So as a user, that is the who, right?
Yes.
What do you want? You want the Wi-Fi ability.
Yes.
Why? The why now is in so that I'll be able to make calls when there is no mobile network.
Yes.
Okay. Now we did hear about the acceptance criteria. Right. So acceptance criteria are the things that we want to see, or what are the things we want this particular Wi-Fi functionality to be able to perform, right? What are the things we want to see? So let's just brainstorm. It's a mobile phone. So under here, after we write the description, right, as a who, I want, what, I can, why, we need to put in the acceptance criteria. Remember, acceptance criteria is what is going to guide the team to know how to build this or what should be part of this particular functionality, right? So we'll just go under here, we'll abbreviate with ACC, which is the acceptance criteria. So we can use bullet points. So as a user now, when you how does your Wi-Fi function when you turn it on? What do you see?
Wi-Fi available.
I mean, it gives you strong connectivity.
Okay, one, and then we can also see available networks, right? So we can say one of the acceptance criteria is after we finish building this Wi-Fi functionality, it should be such a way that if we turn it on, it can be able to tell us all the networks that are available around us, right? So that you can be able to select. So because once you turn it on, it will tell you the available network. So that could be one of the acceptance criteria. Let's just say be able to show available networks, right? So meaning that if by the time we finish building this and then they are testing it and then they end the Wi-Fi, it's not able to show available network, it means that we have not done what was needed, correct? We have not followed the criteria that was needed for this particular functionality. Any other acceptance criteria you can think? So when you create your Wi-Fi, I think, oh no, it's mobile hotspot that you can do password. No, so with Wi-Fi, you can be able to set if you want your, you can be able to set your, anyways, you can be able to view available network. What else?
Could you also add, like, if you want there to be security on it, whether or not people can open the Wi-Fi or not?
Okay. Okay, be able to. Security. Let's just keep it simple. We can also say you should be able to turn on and off, right? As needed. Be able to turn on and off needed. Okay. So this is our acceptance criteria, right? Now, let's assume that our first event is, what's our first event? First Scrum event.
Backlog refinement.
Sprint planning.
Okay, backlog refinement, correct. So let's just say this is our backlog refinement session going on, right? You people are the developers of the Scrum Master is there. I'm the product owner. I've bought this particular story, right? So now I've opened it. We have, okay, sure. So this is where we are having the conversation, right? You, the developers, you're looking at the description, the acceptance criteria. So this is where you are asking questions if you do not understand anything, right? Maybe as a developer, they say be able to set security. And then you are like, set security, can you throw more light? We don't understand what you mean by be able to set security. So you're having that conversation during the backlog refinement so that the product owner, who is the one bringing in the requirement, can be able to clarify, right? So if at the end of the day, we are not still able to understand what it means, or you ask further questions that even the product owner is not able to understand, we have that time to take it back to management to get more information before we have our actual sprint planning, right? So the backlog refinement gives us that leverage of time to be able to prepare ahead before the sprint planning, making sure that we all understand. Okay, so let's assume that this is our backlog refinement. We'll just go ahead and hit create. So now we have our first story acceptance criteria. We hit create. So with the stories, you see that when you create a story, it goes straight to the backlog. Do we see it right here? Backlog, we have one issue, right? Are we there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So let's go ahead and create another user story. We hit create. The issue type is already on story. Summary. What else do we see under connection? We see Bluetooth. Correct.
Bluetooth.
Okay. So let's say our other user story under the feature connection will be Bluetooth. So we are further breaking down connection to Bluetooth. Okay. Can somebody try with the description? Anyone wants to give me the who, the what, and the why?
As a user, I want to be able to connect my Bluetooth to my car while driving, so I don't have to use my phone or handheld my phone.
Okay, let's use connect. I want to be able to connect
My Bluetooth.
my Bluetooth to other devices, right? So we don't restrict it only to your car.
Sure.
Which
My
is
Bluetooth to other devices,
Mhm.
right? So you can what?
Well, I was only thinking about the car. Now I have to think about other devices.
What did you say about the car?
So that I don't have to hold my phone in my hand. I can just
Okay.
answer the call via Bluetooth.
Could you also say like expand user functions?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can
Or listen to music.
so I can expand what?
User function. I
Okay.
like that one.
Expand user function. So it could either be listen to music, take a call.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Expand user functions. Okay, that was a good one. All right. So what else do we need to put under the description area?
Acceptance criteria.
Correct. So we go ACC. What are some of the acceptance criteria you think we can put here? Just think of how the Bluetooth functions.
Be able to connect to multiple devices.
Mm-hmm.
Be able to connect. Devices. Okay. Any other one?
able to search for nearby devices.
Okay. Let's search devices. All right. Perfect. Let's just leave it at the two because anyways, we are not the ones to come up with all of this, right? It's the development team, but you as a Scrum Master, in some cases, you will have to be the one to put it in the board. So we have to understand where what goes, right? Okay. So we go ahead and hit create. So this is still our backlog refinement, right? We are having the conversation. So I believe developers, we all understand what is required of the story, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so anybody who does not understand then can ask the product owner, okay, they said search nearby devices, can you throw more light or whatever it is they don't understand. They're having the conversation then at the backlog refinement session. So we go ahead and click create. Okay. So we can, let me see. What was the other epic we did was sound and vibration, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's just create two user stories under there as well. So if you click open sound and vibration, what do you see? Now we are breaking it. It's a feature. The customer wants sound and vibration as one of the features. So what is it that the customer will want us to put under sound and vibration? Or how do you want your whole sound and vibration to function? What should be included?
Ringtone.
Okay, create. So we leave it as story because it's still user story we are creating. Okay, ringtone. Ringtone. Somebody give me the description.
That the phone rings whenever there's an incoming call or
As a user. Okay, as a user, I want
the phone to ring.
Okay, my phone
There's an incoming call
to ring.
to notify me that I have a call.
Okay. So I can be notified so that I'll be notified.
Of an incoming call.
Oh. Incoming call. Okay. What are we putting next?
Accepting criteria.
Acceptance criteria. Okay. Any suggestion? We'll just put one since we already understand the concepts. Like I earlier said, we are not the ones who come up with all of this. The development team, the product owner, the tech guys are the ones that are going to come up with this. So the most we can do is put it in so they'll be telling us. So like now I'm assuming that you are the developers, right? I'm the Scrum Master. So okay, acceptance criteria. What can we put there?
Be able to change ringtones.
Okay. Be able to change tones. That was a good one. Okay. Let's just leave that for now because of time. We know we can put different acceptance, but this should be one of the acceptance criteria, right? By the time we are done building ringtone, a customer who is using the phone should be able to say, okay, I can change my ringtone to whatever tone I want. Okay, we create one more user story, and then we move to our next event. What else is there? I see volume as well. What else is there under sound and vibration? Do we do the volume?
Volume.
Let's take volume. The description.
As the user, I want to be able to adjust my volume settings so that I don't miss notifications.
So that don't miss patients. Okay. Okay. Any suggestions for acceptance criteria? ACC.
Be able to decrease and increase the volume.
Okay. Be able to decrease. Increase the volume. Okay. Let's just leave that for now. There are many other acceptance criteria that could be added. So, team, do we understand what is required?
Yes.
Okay. So, it means we all understand what is required of the stories from our refinement session. So, what's the next event?
Sprint planning.
Okay, sprint planning. All right. So, we are just going to click the stories one after the other. Right. Okay, so we click open. This is open at the site. Let me just make it wider just so everybody can see. Okay, so this Wi-Fi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, what is lacking in the story?
It's not assigned to anyone.
Okay,
It's not
that's one.
stated.
Two. Okay, So let's do those ones first. So it has not been estimated, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we come right here, we see story points estimation. It says none. So to add the story points, we'll just assume what story points do we think we can give for Wi-Fi?
4.
3.
I say 3.
Okay, who said 4?
Yeah, someone said 4.
So because 4 is, what is wrong with 4? Anybody can try.
Yes, there is no 4 in the Fibonacci sequence.
Correct. So we want to really pay attention to that, right? If you say you've been working as a Scrum Master, of course, you know 4 is not a number in the Fibonacci sequence. All right. So we have 2 3s.
5.
Somebody said 5.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
8.
All right. So as a Scrum Master now, you have some developers. 2 people have said 3. Somebody else has said 5. As a Scrum Master, what do you do in that situation?
You ask why they have their different numbers.
Okay, perfect. So if I'm asking, okay, who said the 3? Why did you pick a 3? And then they give their explanation, right? And then the person of the 5, why did you pick a 5? And they give their explanation. And then we come to a compromise. It could be that the person with the 5 identifies some other tests that needs the story needs that maybe the person with the 3 missed out on, right? And maybe after explaining that, oh, we have this test to do, so that is why I went with the 5. Then maybe the person with the 3 can say, oh, I forgot, that's true. So we can do the 5. So as a Scrum Master, you facilitate that conversation so that the team can be able to come to an agreement as to what story points to put. Do we understand? Okay, so we are just assuming that we've had the conversation and we agreed as a team that the person with the 3 saw reasons with the person with the 5. That's just an assumption. So let's put 5. You put in your story point right there, right? You can use this to, so by this way you put it your story point, and then you take the tick sign, you click here. So you see we have 5 for our story points, right? Okay, and then next thing we need to assign, right? But now remember, after doing the okay, let's go step by step. Now we have the story points. What else are we supposed to do? Remember, we create some things before we started creating stories. What did we create?
I have a question. Can we just go over story point estimate one more time?
Okay. Sorry, who picked a 3 before?
Me, Joy.
Okay, Joyce. Who picked a 5?
Okay.
Okay, Kim. All right, so let's not go technical. Let me go to, we are assuming that this is Wi-Fi, but let's just assume that in this case, Wi-Fi is faster, right? And then, Kim, you picked a 5, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll just ask you, why did you pick a 3? Let's assume it's faster. We want to cook.
I pick a 3 because I think it's not going to take us long to cook the pasta. By the time we cook the spaghetti, put the sauce together, and put everything together, I think it should take us less time than, her 5 that she's choosing. Yeah.
Right, that's Joyce on. Kim, why did you pick a 5?
I pick a 5 because even though pasta is an easy food to cook, I've never cooked it before. It's my first time of cooking pasta, so I don't really know the process very well. So I have to do a little bit of research before I can figure out how I can cook the pasta.
Okay, great. Okay, so we're assuming, okay, let's just assume that sorry again, we put the 3. Is it
Joy?
Joyce, sorry. So let's assume that Joyce now has worked on it. Okay. Kim, do you see reasons with Joyce? What do you think? Do you think we can go with the 3 because Joyce has done it before and she feels, or she has explained that is what was required the last time she worked on something like this? Do you see reasons with her?
Yes, I see reasons with her. If she picked the 3 and if it's something she's done before, obviously she knows her way around it, and 3 days should be enough.
Okay, so Let's just change it. We go with a 3. Right. So now we are having that conversation. So everybody is together, right? We are agreeing as a team. So that is how you ask. So I just use faster because, of course, Wi-Fi is technical. We have not worked on that, but the developers who know the technical know-how, of course, they can start saying, oh, this test is required, this testing is required. So that is why I picked a 5, because by the time we do all those tests, this is the outcome. All right, so let's assume that we are going with a 3, right?
Yes.
We take the 3. So do we understand the story point estimation now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, so what next are we supposed to do? We created something before we started creating the stories.
The epic
The big idea.
or the future?
Yes, the features, which in the case of the Jira board, we put them as epics, right? Okay,
Yes.
so now when you create every story, you're supposed to link that story to an epic. Remember, we took different epics and we're breaking them down, right?
Mhm.
So Wi-Fi was under which epic? What did we break down Wi-Fi from?
Connectivity.
Activity.
So, yeah, connection, something.
Connection. Yeah, connection.
Okay. So now we are supposed to link it. Let me just go here. Sorry. Oh, this took us out of the board, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. So yeah, now we see add epic.
Mm-hmm.
So if you click on add epic, so it shows us all the epics that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to select connection because that is what the Wi-Fi is linked to, right?
Yeah.
So we take connection. So now we see that we have our connection linked to Wi-Fi and we have our story points right here. But because we have not done for the others, we don't see that, right? So as a Scrum Master, looking at this board now, you just tell that, okay, Bluetooth has not been linked to an epic and Bluetooth has not been estimated and assigned, right? Okay, let's go to Bluetooth. We click open. So we are just going to go over this fast. We already know how to facilitate the estimation process, right? To come to a compromise. So let's just assume randomly here. What can we put here for Bluetooth?
3.
Okay. We have another 3. We take okay. We click there and then let me just open this. So the add epic, you can either click here to add epic or right here. Do we see?
Mm-hmm.
Add epic. So either ways works. So Bluetooth is still under connection, right? So we click on the epic, we add the connection. So now we have linked Bluetooth to the connection epic. So that way we are able to see where the stories originate from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The next one is going to be ringtone, same thing. So now we are linking the issues, right? Let's assume that we are in our sprint planning already. The backlog refinement, we've already understood. Everybody understood the requirements that we needed or what is required of the story. So now, because we have understood what is required, that is why we are able to estimate, right? Because if I see something has a lot of requirements, of course, it tells me that it's going to take me more time and effort. So it will prompt me to give maybe a higher estimate, right? So that is why we had that conversation before to understand before we start putting in the estimate. Okay, so we have the ringtone right here. How many story points should we put for the ringtone? Just any number. Don't you guys can just give any number on the Fibonacci sequence.
1.
Okay, 1 is a number as well. Okay, but our velocity will look so low. Let's do 5, please. Okay, let's do 5. We click. What else are we supposed to do now? On the ringtone.
Oh, link it to an epic.
We link the epic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we come here, add epic, and I think this one was under
Sounds and
sound,
vibration.
epic sound and vibration. So you see how it's showing where a story is originating from, which epic, right? Or from which feature the story is originating from. Okay, so we take volume. How many story points can we put on volume?
4.
3.
Four. Who keeps saying 4? So there's no 4 in the Fibonacci sequence.
Yeah.
All right. We have 1, 2, we have 3, we have 5, we have 8, 13, and so on. Okay, somebody said I had a 3. Or let's give an 8. Let's just give an 8.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so now our stories have been created. We have the acceptance criteria, the description. We have linked them to the epic. We have story pointed them. And what else is lacking?
Oh, we've not put the
So has this okay,
Well,
let me rephrase my question. Has the stories met the definition of ready?
yes.
Yes or no?
You didn't link volume to an epic.
Well, yeah, but yes.
Oh, that's true. Okay. First of all, do we understand when we say a story has met the definition of ready?
Yes.
Okay. It means that we have our acceptance criteria, correct?
Yes.
We have a description, correct?
Mm-hmm.
We have linked it to an epic, right? We have story pointed it.
Yes, ma'am.
So has it met the definition of ready? Are we ready to start working on it?
Yeah.
Are we sure?
We are, but it's just not assigned once again.
Good. So now it has not met the definition of ready because we have not assigned it. If we say we are working on it, it means everything is said. We know who is working on what, and everybody has understood. We have linked it. So because we have not yet assigned it, it means it has not met the definition of ready. The definition of ready means okay, we can pull it to the spring and click start, right? But now we cannot do that because who is working on what? We don't know. So now this is where as a Scrum Master now, do you assign the stories to your developers?
No.
No.
Okay, so they assign to themselves. So if, for example, now everybody will be on the board, right? On this board, there's just one person because this is the person's board, right? But this is where you add people. Have we seen? So if you want to have your team members, you come here. If you click add, it's going to tell you to enter the email address or whatever, right? So if I start typing an email address, for example, when I finish, it will ask me to select. When I select it, I'll add, right? So that's how you get people on the board, to add more people on your board. But most of the time when you go to an already existing team, you meet people already on the board. You have your team members already there. Okay, so now this is where you assign, right? So I'll click and then I'll assign to this one person because this is the only person on the board. But if there were other people on the board, when you click here, you see all the names, right? Or when you put in a name, you will see, and then you can assign to whoever say, oh, I'm going to be working on that. So you just click here, you assign. I'm just going to assign everything to one person because there's only one person on the board for now. Let me click on this thing. I don't know. I myself, I don't see the bottom of my board. Not sure why. Okay. We assign that. And then the last one, we are still going to assign to me. All right. Okay. So now our stories have met the definition of ready, right? Well, I'll briefly just rush. We see something here that we see the fixed version, right? So fixed version here simply mean that when do we want to release something, right? Okay, they have told us to build this thing. When are we supposed to release this particular functionality? That's what is called the fixed version. So let's assume that we are, what is this? The month of May, right?
Yes.
May 20th. And then we assume that connections and then sound and vibrations, everything under connection and sound and vibrations need to go out in the month of June, for example. And then we want to follow up. That's what we call releases. Do we see releases right here?
Yes.
So let me just quickly create that and then we can move on so we don't. Okay, so to create your releases, you click on releases right here, right? And then you say create version. If you click here, we'll put the name. Let's just say release version
0.1.
Okay, 0.1. All right. Now they're asking us the start date. We'll just leave today as the start date, right? When we want to start the work. The release date, we'll say we want to release it in the month of June. Let's just say June 20th. That will be a month time, right? So
That's that day is 1993.
No, that's why this 2003 that we want to select. Do you see the calendar opens?
Okay.
So we are selecting 20th of June 2023. We click here.
Okay.
So that's why it changes, right? To June 20th, 2023. All
But
right.
the start date doesn't change. That's what she was saying. Excuse me.
The start date doesn't change.
Oh, sorry. No, it's changes.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. I'm so sorry.
It's
So
okay.
start date will be May 20th. Thank you so much. Yeah. So start date will be today, May 20th, and then the end date, we'll have to release it in June 20th, right? So what's the description? Description is just to what is required of the release. So we'll just say be done, or let's say we are releasing
Wait, are you very close?
releasing everything or every story, or let's just say everything under connection and sound and vibration, right?
Yeah.
Those are the we have, right?
Mhm.
Sound and vibration. Okay. So we have known that this is going out, right? So whatever has to do with what we are working on has to go out in June. So we click save. That's it. We have our release version. But if we look at TTN now in progress, it tells us there are no issues, right? Because we have not linked. Remember, we linked epics to the stories, but now we have not linked the releases. That is why it's telling us that there are no issues under this release. So let's go back to our backlog. I just came here. So you come to releases to create a release, right? So now we are back to our backlog. Let's assume that all of these things have to go out on that release date, right?
Yeah.
If we click on the story, it opens here. We come to fixed version. It says none. So when we click on it, we see the fixed version we just created, version 1.0. So you just click there, and that's it. We have linked the release version, right?
Yep.
If you come to the next one, you click open, you go to version, or you go to fixed version. You click here. We want it to be on that release, right? That's it. Fixed version, version 1.0. And then we come to, we just do for all of them the same thing. Fixed version, version 1.0. So we are releasing it in June. We come here, fixed version, version 1.0. Okay. Oh, sorry, I accidentally created release version. I wanted to create. So, okay, version 1.0. All right. So we close it. Now, remember when we were at releases, it was telling us that no issues, right? Now we have come back to releases. What does this tell us?
What to do?
What to do. It means that we have added 4 issues under this release. So as a Scrum Master, you can come to this, your releases, and you're seeing the progress. You see where you see progress, right? When we start the sprint, as the sprint is progressing or we are going towards the release, it's going to be telling us how many issues out of these 4 has already been done, how many is left. So as a Scrum Master, if we are getting to June, maybe we're around the 10th of June, right? And then you're still seeing that only 1 of the issues have been done. You want to start following up with your team, right? Because we are close to that release date and we still have a lot to be done. Okay, so let's go back to the backlog, and then we say we've assigned, our story has made the definition of
Done.
right. So now we see this is spring 1, right? So
Yeah.
we hear product backlog, spring backlog. This is our product backlog here. This is our spring backlog where it says spring 1. So we see that there are no issues in our spring backlog yet, right? So can we start the sprint? When I put my cursor on start, can we start it?
No.
No, because we don't have anything in the sprint. So we cannot even start a sprint that has nothing. So how do we have agreed that this is what we are working on this sprint, right? So to move issues from the backlog. So now it's just 4 because it's just practical. On a real life environment, you see hundreds of story points issues on that backlog. So that's where we'll be pulling from gradually to the sprint backlog, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's assume that we are working, we have agreed that, okay, this sprint that we want to start, we have to work on Wi-Fi, right? We have that it has been prioritized, for example, right?
Yes.
Remember, our backlog needs to be prioritized. So we are assuming that this is the order of the priority. The customer wants this one first. So you just pull and drop. So you see, immediately you start dropping things, it gives you the ability to be able to start the sprint, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just pull all of them. We have just 4 issues, but if there were many other issues, we will leave the ones that we are not working for that sprint. We'll leave it at the backlog. So we are going to put only what we want to work on for the current sprint into the sprint backlog. Do we understand? Okay. So looking at this, our sprint backlog, and Doctor has given us lectures on what velocity is. What is our velocity for this sprint?
19 story point.
Correct. So that's our velocity for this sprint. 19. Okay, so we'll go ahead and click start. So this is where you start the sprint, right? So if you're the Scrum Master driving the board, everything is okay. And I think today Doctor spoke about the vote of confidence, right?
Yes.
So this is where we have it. Okay, you people are my team. We are a team. I said team. All right, this is what we have taken. We are assuming that this 19 story points, we have taken it according to our capacity. Remember, capacity is the availability of team members, right, for that sprint. So let's assume that as per the number of people that will be available, we have seen that it's fair enough for us to take 19 story points. Then we are sure that we are able to finish, right? So now our vote of confidence, I'm asking team, so the story or the work that we have for the sprint to now, are we confident that we will be able to, complete it by the end of the sprint?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's assume that everybody says yes, 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 or 5. Most of the time it will be from 1 to 5, right? Meaning 1 meaning we are not sure. 5 meaning, okay, yeah, great, we can do it. So we are assuming that, okay, I've asked the question, the team member says, sure, we can. So I'm just going to go ahead and click start the sprint. All right, so it tells us this is our sprint 1. Now duration, right? So you can have any duration, but most widely used is 2 sprints. So that's why it's taking the 2 sprints duration, right? 2 weeks sprint, sorry. Okay, so now because it's 2 weeks, it tells us automatically the start date is this, right? So it automatically gives us the end date, which will be 3rd of June. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, so from now to the 3rd of June is 2 weeks. So the sprint goal now, the team comes out with the sprint goal, and the sprint goal always depends on what the team will be working on, right? So you determine your sprint goal on what the team is working on that particular sprint. So for now, to keep it simple, let's say we are working on connection and sound and vibration, right? So let's say our goal is to be able to, complete all the functionalities under connection and sound and vibration, right? Let's just assume so. So let's say our goal is to complete functionalities.
Ecosystem. No worry, I'm
Under,
I got a quick question.
okay. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Can you have more than one sprint goal if you have teams that are not cross-functional?
Yes, so the sprint goal is the team that comes out. Whatever people decide that, okay, this team, what's our goal? You come up with the team goal, right? With the sprint goal.
Okay.
So whatever it is, it should just be towards, it should be geared towards what the team is working on at that during that sprint.
Okay, thank you.
So if now we had this, yes, Kim, I see your hand on. Let's say, for example, we had these connections and everything here, and then maybe we had some bugs that had came in that we also want to take in for this sprint, right? So of course, our goal is to complete these ones that we have taken, and also maybe work on the bug fixes that are going into the sprint. Yes, Kim, go ahead.
I have a question. I just really need a clarification. So I know the sprint backlog belongs to the developers. So
Mhm.
when the backlog is prioritized, so they pick the features and then the Scrum Master will be the one to work it on the board. They tell the
Yes, so most cases now sometimes you have the PO do it, but most of the time you the Scrum Master, right? You're there in that meeting, you share your screen, you have access to the board. So
they
they're
tell
having the
you and you pick
conversation.
it.
Yeah. 90% of the time, 99% even, you'll be the one working this board.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's say we have our sprint goal and then we go ahead and click start. So we see that we're at the backlog before. The moment we click start, it takes us to the board. Did we see that?
Mhm.
So we are at the backlog. Moment we start, it takes us to the board. We have the to do, in progress, QA done. Okay, now we are done with our sprint planning. Let's say the next day we want to start. What's the next event that we'll have for the next day after our sprint planning?
Daily stand up.
Okay, so that's the daily stand-up. So we are assuming that after we started the spring, maybe the developer started working. So I'll just move to, so you can just give anything, right? You don't need to be technical. Let me just move to, let me say, Kim, you're working on Wi-Fi and vibration, right? So we'll just take two people to give us just because of time. And then let me pick one other person. Okay. Okay, let's say Kelly. I'm not sure if Kelly can talk, right?
Yeah.
But okay. So Kelly, let's just assume that you're working on volume. So now this is our daily stand up. So welcome team. Good morning. I trust you are doing okay. So this is our daily stand up, right? Oh, did I pick it? Okay, Kelly. Okay, Kelly. Please, can you give us an update on what you'll be working on?
I've been working on the volume aspect of sounds and vibrations. So within the volume, I've been trying to figure out ways to incorporate maybe decreasing and increasing the volume, different sounds that you could use to help you hear your phone better when it comes to certain alerts that you may get. Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, before I cut you short, remember the daily stand up, what you were working on yesterday. So that's what you have been working on, right? So you give us an update on what you were working on yesterday, what you're working on today. So if it's the same thing, simple, I'll keep working on that today, right? Or I started working on it, and then if you have any impediments,
Oh,
you
okay.
tell us, and if you don't, okay.
Okay. So will continually working on it. And some of the things that I had problems with was maybe I didn't have the right tools to help me in one of the subject areas that I was trying to work.
Okay. All right, Tim. So as a Scrum Master now, she has given an impediment, right? She had an issue. So that is what she was working on yesterday. It's what she'll be working on today, but she has an issue. So as a Scrum Master, of course, you now have to follow up with her on that impediment, right? So now if the impediment does not concern the whole team, we don't want to keep the whole team waiting. So I can simply tell her, Kelly, oh, can you stay back after this? Or can we take it to the parking lot so I can have, we can look at the impediment that you're facing, right? Okay.
Yes.
Who else did I call? So anybody else can go. Just give an update on Wi-Fi. Let's assume that you're working on it.
Okay, I'm working on connections. I've been able to put all the designs together so that way I'll link them up to the Wi-Fi. That's what I've done. I said yesterday, but today I'll be moving on to get in connection with the Wi-Fi company that is supposed to link me up with connectivity. That way I can bring all the designs together and then link so that it will start functioning. That's what I'll be working on today. Other than that, I'm good.
Okay. Do you have any impediments?
No,
Okay.
I was able to get across to the network company that's supposed to help with the Wi-Fi connectivity. So, and they are assuring me that by the end of today, they'll be able to give me the link that I need to do that.
Okay. All right. So that's how they take turns, right? So after she goes, the next person goes. And now, if for example, let me just say, for example, I put it on Wi-Fi right here, and Kem was giving me her maybe she was giving me an update, right? And she's saying, "Oh, I'm still working on this," whereas maybe it's in QA, right? So you want to make sure that what update they are giving is reflecting the board. Or for example, if it was still on to do, and then she says, "Oh, she has started working on it. She'll keep working on it," but then she's telling me that she has started working on it, but I still see it under to do, right? So I want to follow up with that. Okay, well, I see that you have started working on it, but it's still under to do. Well, at that moment, as a Scrum Master, of course, I'll go ahead and move it to in progress. And hey, team, please, can we endeavor to move our stories as we progress, just so everybody is able to, visualize the flow of work, right? So you want to encourage them to move it. You don't want to be the one moving it all the time. So at that time, now I'm going to move it because that is where your update is. So we want to be very vigilant. Is the update they are giving matching what is on the board as far as the stories are concerned, right? So that's how you just move it. So every day you have your daily stand-up and all of that till we go to the end of the sprint. So now this is where you can see how many days are left for your sprint. We see 10 days because we just started the sprint. So as the days are going, it'll be reducing here until you tell you have 0 days left where you need to end the sprint. Okay. So let's say they are done with volume, you move it to QA, right? Let's assume that we are progressing with the sprints, for example. And then let's just move these ones to done. So we are just assuming that we have come to the end of our 2-week sprint, right?
Yes.
So we have been able to complete 3 issues and we have not been able to complete one of them, for example. And then we go to complete sprint right here. So we are clicking the complete sprint, assuming that 0 days are left, right? Which on a normal day, of course, we'll go through the 2 weeks before we complete our sprint. So let's assume that we have come to the end of the sprint and then we click complete. Now it tells us we want to complete this sprint. They said the sprint contains 3 completed issues and 1 open issue. It means that we have completed 3, but 1 is not complete. So now it's asking us, do we want to move the issue to the new sprint or we want to take it back to the backlog? Do we see that?
Yes.
Okay, so there you are not the one to take this decision. So the team, okay. All right, team, are we moving it to the next sprint? But in situations where we have started working on it, right? In a situation like this that we have started working on this one, it was 3 story points. If at all we are moving it to the next sprint, is it going to remain a 3 story point?
No.
No,
Why?
because you need more time to work on it.
No, okay, we've already started working. We have done part of it.
I think the point to reduce because
Correct.
it already was working on it before now.
Okay, good. So we'll send it and then we'll estimate it. So we are not going to leave it at that. So if it's going to the next sprint or to the backlog, we are either ways we are re-estimating the story, right? Because now it will require less effort because we already started working on it. All right, so let's just say we'll move it to the next sprint. We click complete. So there you are. You see, because we say we wanted to move it to the next sprint, you see, it automatically creates sprint 2, right? And they have moved it there. Bluetooth is already under sprint 2. If we are taking to the backlog, it would have come to the backlog. All right. So now we have completed our sprint, and then we are having, let's assume that we've had a done increment. What is our next event? At the end of the sprint, what do we do?
Retrospect.
We do our review.
Yes, so we do
Yeah.
review or demo, spring review or spring demo. So the spring demo is if we are able to come out with a working increment, right? If we are able to come out with an increment, so we are demonstrating it to the stakeholders to get feedback, right? For them to tell us, okay, this is what was required, or you people did it well, or if there are any adjustments, they'll tell us there, right? So it's an opportunity for them to inspect and adapt. So we are taking the feedback. So if they are giving us any feedback that, oh, what you people built for this spring, we're expecting this to be there, we did not see this. So as a team, we are taking the feedback to go and adjust, right? And that's a spring demo. But if we are not able to have any increment by the end of the spring, we just review. So we are just going to review to them what we have been working on so far, since we're not able to have a done increment by the end of the sprint. All right, so after let's assume that we've had our review, and then we've had the feedback. What is the next event that we are supposed to have after that?
Please.
Sorry?
Retrospective.
The retrospective. All right, so before we go to our retrospective, of course, let's look at our reports. So to go to your reports, we click here, right? Reports. This is our burn down, burn up, our velocity. Okay, so let's look at the burn down first. Oh, this is the burn up. Okay, so well, yeah, is so every chart you want to look at the key, right? So we see the guideline. This is the ideal line. This is the line that will be guiding us, and then the completed work. So remember, the burn up chart shows us the amount of work that we have already completed, right? As the spring proceeds. Now we see now that our green line is up straight on one line. Does anybody have an idea why?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we really work on all the story like today.
Perfect. So because we completed all the stories on one day, that's why it shows us that it burned up on one day. But if we were following the normal gradual way, days are passing, you see the chart burning up gradually, right? You see how my cursor is going, right? It will be burning up. Maybe if we complete a story, it burns up. If we don't do anything, we'll stay on a straight line. When we complete a story, it will go up. So the goal is for it to go above this line. Before we get to the end of the sprint, right? The green line should be above. So if we are getting to the end of the sprint, the green line is, let's say, somewhere here. It's not above here. It means that we still have a lot of work that we have not completed. Right? Okay, so let's go to the burn down chart, which is the opposite of the burn up chart. So with the burn down chart now, it tells us remaining work, right? And then this is the guideline as well. So we see that even with the burn down chart, everything burned down on the same day, right? Because we move all of the stories that we completed to done on the same day. But if we did not do that, we would have had the line moving like this. Days that we go without completing any story, the line will be on this straight line as my cursor is going. Any day that we move a story to done, it will drop down. It keeps moving. Any day that you move a story to done, it drops down. So the goal is for it to burn below this line. So if your burn down chart is above this line, remember the burn down should be burning down, right? The burn up should be burning up. So if you're going towards the end of the sprint, your burn down chart is still above this line. This maybe the red line is still above this line. Then the work is not burning as it's supposed to be. You want to start following up what is happening, any bottlenecks or what can be the reason why, right? Because it's supposed to burn down. Okay, we go to our velocity chart. So we see committed versus completed. So can somebody tell us our actual, okay, what does this say here?
Committed.
That we committed to 19 story points and we're able to complete 16.
So what is our actual velocity for the sprint?
16.
16.
16, because that's what we're able to complete. So the green bar just shows you what we completed, right? Yeah, the green bar shows you completed, the gray bar shows you committed. So this is what we committed, this is what we completed. If we had completed everything, both of them would have been on the same line, right? Showing that we committed to 19, we completed all the 19. All right, so as a team now, the Scrum Master will view our board, and from this report, it's showing us that we're not able to complete one story point, right? So now we are diving to our retro, which is the last event. So we want to have that conversation. What happened that we're not able to finish that, right? So now we are diving to our retro, where we'll look at the sprint, right? Look at how the sprint went. What went well? What did not go well? What can be improved? So we don't just want to focus on what did not go well or what did we not do. Of course, we want to find out the things that went well, right? Of course, we're able to complete 16 story points. What were we doing? Or what are the good practices that we did for us to even achieve that? We want to keep doing that. Maybe we say, oh, everybody was coming for meeting, people were moving their boards on time, you know, all of that. So team, can we keep doing that, right? What were we not doing well or what went wrong? If we say, for example, maybe we did not complete this story, for example, because this story is 3 story points, right? It's just an example. Let me say we are at the retro and let me say Kem was working on the story, right? And then we are just finding out, oh, team, what really happened that we're not able to complete that, right? Then maybe Kem says, oh, we actually underestimated, right? We gave it 3 story points, but maybe when we started working on it, we discovered that it actually required more effort than what was required, right? And all of that. So we want to look at that. We want to find out what happened. And then we are able to come up with action items. Action items simply means what are the things we want to improve on? What are the things the team has said we have to work on? We are putting it down, making sure that we work on that. So when you come to your retro, before you dive into the what went well, what did not go well, and the action items, you want to look at the previous retro, right? Because every retrospective is good to come out with something on an action item that the team needs to improve on, right? So you want to first of all pull up the action items from the previous sprint and say, hey, team, these were our action items. Were we able to accomplish these things that we agreed as a team that we are going to improve on, right? So you want to first of all see if the action items from the previous sprint was achieved, then you dive into the next sprint. So that brings us to the end of our event. Any question?
Yes. So where is the action item for the retrospective reading? So when it's time for you to bring it up and like show it for transparency, where do you pull that up?
Pull up the action items that you documented. So you can do that on Confluence.
Okay.
Confluence, okay, let's say we'll end the session by 8 so doctor can take over. Let me just take the 8 minutes quickly. So, okay, so Confluence is, you see where my cursor is? If I take switch and you see Confluence right here? I take Confluence, but in your organization, you will go there, you already have, most of the time you have your Confluence, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's say we want to get started. Okay, it's loading. So while it's loading, do we have any other questions?
Yes, I do. So is it okay for the team to re-estimate if they find out in the course of the sprint that underestimated the work, is it okay for them to re-estimate it in the course of the sprint?
With that, the spring you have to come to an end, right? To be able to re-estimate that. Remember, when the spring comes to an end, if we are not able to, so those are errors that we can make, or those are some shortcomings that we have. So that's how we learn, right? And we say, oh, we underestimated this thing. So next time we have a work like that, we are able to, try as much as possible to have an appropriate estimate. Okay, so this is Confluence. This is what Confluence looks like. Okay. Okay, so this is what Confluence looks like. This is Confluence. Okay, so with Confluence, right, we have what we call spaces, right? And then under the spaces, we'll have what we call pages. So with the spaces here, it's just like we go to create a project, right? Under the space, you go to create like your team name, right? Okay, let's say in my organization, my team name is Team Excel, right? So I want to go and maybe create, I should have taken team, but it's okay. So you have your name of your space. Do you see it right here? So let's say at work, my team that the organization has given me, the team name is Excel. So I put Team Excel, meaning that every time I want to find something under my team name, I'll just come to Excel, right? I create space. Okay. Let me close this, take it on. All right, so my space, you see it right there, Team Excel. So this is our space. Say, welcome to your new space. So now, as a team and a Scrum Master for Team Excel, let's say we have we are done with our retro, right? We have action items. Now we come here to this create. You hit create here. When you hit the create, let it open up. So it's going to open up, right? Now, remember, I spoke about spaces and pages. They say give this page a title. So now everything we are creating now, every page that we create, it will be under this Excel because that's our team. So now if this page now we say is our action items for our previous retro, right? So we will just put it here, action items for retro, right? Or from retro. Okay, so that is the title. So now it's just like a normal Word document. You see, you have your bold, you have text. If you want to bullet shoot everything, if you want to put in tables, right? You can always put in tables. Anything that you want to do, you can do. Okay, let's say we want to put our action items. Now we said we agree that, oh, please, we should try to be coming for meetings early or on time or not missing meetings, right? Okay, one of the action items is team members should endeavor to, let me just say, endeavor to attend all meetings, right? Okay. So let me correct this endeavor, sorry. This is where you put all the action items. Now, anything that you have agreed, maybe developers should get the code earlier to the testers so that testers can be able to have enough time to test, right? We put it here. Developers should endeavor to get code to testers maybe at least 4 days before the spring or 5 days before the end of the spring so they have enough time to test. Whatever it is that you come out with, you put it here. Now, the moment you hit publish here, it goes to every team member on this team or your group so they are able to see it.
So where do we add like the team members? On
this board, you see right here, try to edit. Yeah. So there's only one person here, the person of this board. So you can click add, right, to edit. So that's how you do. Once you click publish, everybody gets it. So it's transparent. So we'll just go ahead and close that.
So anything
This is your main conference page. Where you're on your home page, you see here they say invite people.
Oh,
right?
yes.
So the same way you put in their name and then you click add. So it will send them an email inviting them to join the board.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you create on this board, once you hit the publish that I show you up there, the publish will only show when you go to create and you create it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You publish, it goes to everybody, right? So even here, you can have your retrospective. You can hold your retrospective. We have 2 more minutes to go. You can have your retrospective here, right? So if I want to use the conference for my retro, I'll just simply come here, assuming that everybody's on my board. I can come here and then I click this table. I insert this 3, right? I put on this column what went well, right?
Yeah.
What went well, what did not go well, did not go well. And then maybe I say what can be improved, right? What can be improved. Okay. Now, you people are my team members, right? I'm not the one to put this in, and I want you people to give your honest opinion under each of these topics. So we are having the retro. I'll click. Once I come up with this table, you can always add the columns as you want, right? So once you come up with the table and add the number of columns you want, you click publish. So the moment I click publish, it will go to all of you that are on this board. And from your individual ends, you are able to add something on these columns. So immediately, if Kem is writing something like, okay, people are coming late for meetings. Once Kem is writing it from wherever she is displaying here, I'm seeing it immediately. So when everybody is done, I say, okay, team, these are all what people said. We have a conversation now. Okay, this person said we're coming in for meeting late. This, then we conclude that, okay, everybody should be coming in for meeting early. Then I go and start documenting it now, right? That's when now you can document, okay, everybody should come in early for meetings, or we should not meet meetings, or